Roguelike games are offering the best experiences for video gamers out there right now. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a lot. Okay, maybe it's just a little bit. Okay, I'm exaggerating a lot, but think about it. In the last 10 years, we've had a lot of good roguelike experiences come out. Spelunky came out 10 years ago, and ever since then, it seems like we've just been on a hot streak. We've had The Binding of Isaac, Faster Than Light, my personal favorite, Rogue Legacy, Darkest Dungeon, and the very, very excellent Dead Cells. But do you know what these games all have in common? They're not first-person shooters. I mean, what gives? Where are the first-person shooter roguelikes out there? I mean, there's Eldritch, but other than that, I can't really think of any. Let me rephrase that. I can't think of any good ones. Where are the good first-person shooter roguelikes, people? Where are they? I'm not even a first-person shooting fan, and I'm like, where are these games? If I'm asking for it, I guarantee you there's got to be someone else asking for it, right? Well, thank goodness for the studio Krafted Games for listening to all of our prayers, because they have released a new first-person shooting procedurally generated roguelike called Polygod. So here's the full disclaimer. We probably should have had someone who's actually good at video games to review this game, because I am terrible. I mean, I can't even tell you anything about the story because I couldn't get past the second boss, but what I do know is that you play as someone who's called the Nameless One. And from what I can gather, the Nameless One is like a super good killer who has to kill the Holy Champions, and the Holy Champions are these big bosses, right? So once you kill these big bosses, you progress through the game, and then once you kill all of them, the gods are like, oh, this guy's pretty cool because he can kill all of our pets, so we have to make him a god, right? So you're killing to get out of purgatory, just like it was written in the Old Testament. But to be completely honest with you, I do not think you should pick up this game if you're looking for a deep and engrossing story. It's just not going to offer that for you. However, if you are one of those plot nerds who just love the story in a game, this game does give you an opportunity to talk to the various NPCs, and they'll give you more insight in the world that you're living in, killing in, living and killing in. Honestly, the gameplay in Polygod is so fun, you won't even be thinking about the plot in this game. You'll just be thinking about how the hell do I stay alive. Essentially, Polygod is a skill-based shooter, and it requires a lot of skill for you to stay alive. This game is brutal. It doesn't hold your hand. Think about that first time that you got dropped off at preschool and mom just abandoned you. That is how Polygod feels the entire game, which is kind of crazy because you only have 3 controls in the game. You move, you shoot, and you jump. So this game is very easy to learn, but impossible to master. Well, for me, it's impossible to master. But I do have to say that I feel like I'm learning, and like any good roguelike, you want to feel like you're learning something and you're progressively getting better over a span of time. And I think Polygod is doing a really good job of making me feel like I'm learning some things, and it's actually making me feel like I'm getting better at first-person shooters. That being said, I don't know how well this type of game would translate to hardcore first-person shooter fans. I am a roguelike fan first. I'm not a big fan of first-person shooters, and I really enjoy this game. I really enjoy this game. Again, I just don't know if first-person shooters who like Call of Duty and like those fast-paced games like that, I don't know if this type of gameplay is going to translate well for them. But if you do like roguelikes and you do want to try something like this, it is something that I think would be a mistake for you to pass on. And I think it would be a big mistake for you to pass on this game because they offer a really cool gameplay mechanic called Blessings. Blessings are Polygod's perk system. So every time you kill an enemy, you'll pick up souls, and then you can use those souls to purchase blessings. And these blessings can range from higher damage output, they allow you to jump higher, they allow you to run faster, you can even light enemies on fire, you can multiply bullets so that you can shoot a bullet and it will multiply into 2 so that the enemies are getting hit by 2 bullets. It's kind of cool. It's like the Matrix, and then you like pow pow, and then oh sorry, I'm getting carried away. But I do have to say, the more time I spent with the blessing system, the more I really enjoyed it. You can make all kinds of crazy combinations in order to make the character that you want to make, and it really makes playing through the game a lot easier if you find those combinations that you really like. I just can't stress to you how great the gameplay is in this game, between the blessing systems, between the controls, and between the overall chaos that's presented to you. It's just one of the most unique experiences that I played this year. I just think that it's really a testament to see a smaller studio like Krafted Games create a first-person roguelike game that requires such good reaction time from you, that requires you to be extremely attentive about where your enemies are going, that requires you to learn the skills that it takes to master this game. And it's really not that hard on the eyes either. It's vibrant, it's beautiful, it's very minimalistic, but when you combine all these different combinations of what this game really brings to the table, it really makes sense for them to choose this minimalistic art style style. And the fact that it's procedurally generated really even strengthens this game because it gives the players so much variety when they're replaying through this game, because you will replay through it so much because you will die so much. So it's nice for the developers to know that, and they give you so much variety in the environments. I mean, I've died so many times and I feel like I'm playing through a new game every time I start it up, and that is something that should be applauded. And it's not only the environments that should be applauded in this game, it's also the different variety of enemy types that you're trying to murder to become a god. And I do have to admit, I have not been able to get past that second boss because I'm terrible at this game, but I have been impressed by the amount of enemies that I've seen in such a short amount of time. It does make me interested to keep progressing through the story to see what type of enemies and environments the developers had in mind for later on in the game. And although I love the gameplay and I love the graphics in Polygod, the sound and the music were just not up to par with the rest of the game. To be honest, there is just no memorable music and the sound effects were very bland. Nothing really popped for me in the game, which is a shame because I feel like music and sound effects play such a major role, especially when it comes to these indie roguelike games. But other than that, the music transitions between action and passive play were extremely helpful when finding enemies. I just can't help but to feel disappointed in the way the sound direction went with Polygod. But overall, I really enjoyed Polygod, and I would really recommend anyone who's looking for a first-person shooter roguelike to pick this game up. I think between the graphics, I think between the gameplay, and I think really between the blessing system, you would have enough in this game to hold you over. I think it's a definite buy for the Nintendo Switch. It's a good game to play on your lunch break. It's a good game to play when you get off from work and you need something to unwind with. You can even call over a friend to play with you on split screen, so Polygod does give you an opportunity to play with friends. Yay! Screw friends, I don't need them. Sorry, but either way, if you watch this video, make sure you give Polygod a chance. It's out for Nintendo Switch and PC now. I believe it's $14.99, and that's a steal, ladies and gentlemen, especially for a roguelike game like this that gives you endless opportunities to play, keeps you at the edge of your seat, and just provides an amazing time for you and your friends. La la la. You have been listening to the amazing voice of Edmund Arnold, co-host and co-founder of the Donkey Kong Artist. Please check out DonkeyKongArtist.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure you're checking out for more updates. Thank you for watching this video. Love ya.